Hello, this is Mr. Henry, and welcome to Lesson 2.1, Geometric Transformations. The essential question says, how do I identify rotations, reflections, and transformations? The warm-up says, based on the Module 2 introduction activity, give a summary about what you learned. So what you should have done by now is go to seanhenry.org, which I have pulled up here. You go to Grade 8, Module 2, since we're doing the second module. And this very first link says Introduction Activity, or Introduction Transformation Activity. You'd click on there, and you would go through and you would follow the directions on this page. And it goes through the different types of transformations, being rotations, reflections, and translations, and goes through a variety of different questions to have you do that would help you understand this lesson more in depth. So what you should have learned is you should have learned that when you're doing rotations, reflections, and transformations, the shape of the object does not change, simply the location or the orientation of the object. But we'll get into more details in this lesson. So some of the vocab words that would have been used in that activity, but we'll learn here now, are the pre-image. The pre-image is the old figure before the transformation took place. An example would be like A, B, C, D. It's the image you start with. And then the image is the shape that you make after the transformation has occurred. And that new image, the new shape, the new object, usually we use A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. And this little prime symbol, that's how we know that it came from the D. So D goes to D prime, C makes C prime, B makes B prime, A makes A prime. And finally, corresponding. Corresponding are parts in the same position but on the other object. So two corresponding angles, for example, if I'm talking about rectangle here and rectangle here, so if these two images are similar or corresponding, then this angle would correspond to that angle. We've got three more vocabulary words here. The first one is rotation. A rotation, and these are the main types of transformations we'll talk about. A rotation is when a 2D figure is rotated about a point. Sometimes it's called a turn. If you think about, like, if you turn your paper slightly, that would be a rotation. A reflection is when a 2D figure is reflected across a line. Think of it like a flip or a mirror image. That's what a reflection would be. And a translation is when a 2D figure is moved from one place to another. So you kind of just, it says slide from one place to another, but the orientation stays the same. It's not turned, it's not flipped, it's not rotated. You're just kind of moving it. So this lesson is just devoted to looking at images and identifying, is this a rotation, a reflection, or a transformation? So let's see. The first one here says, describe the rotation that took place. So this is my pre-image. This would be my image. The pre-image is the first one, the thing that happened first. The image is what happened after the transformation took place. So if I'm looking at these, it looks like this just rotated that direction. If you would imagine like taking this whole picture and kind of turning it like that, that's kind of what happened to our first shape. So this would be a rotation. As we can tell, it's a rotation. But this rotation is 90 degrees because it moved from one quadrant to the very next quadrant. So this would be like a 90-degree rotation, 180 degrees would be this way. We don't really talk about a 270 degree rotation, but a 270 degree rotation would be the whole way around here. But why would you go 3 quadrants this way if you just do maybe 90 degrees clockwise? So anyways, the rotation that actually happened was a 90 degree rotation counterclockwise. It's the opposite directions that the hands on a clock spins. And that's the operation that happened. Letter B. So we started with this image. Oh, and I guess we should say that this rotation took place. It looks like it took place around the origin. This point here is in the middle. So I'm going to say a 90 degree counterclockwise rotation about the origin. Alright, letter B. This letter B, the center point appears to be right here. Meaning if I took this and I rotated it this way, or even rotated it that way, it would be rotated around that point. So this looks like a 180 degree rotation because I'm going to, basically it's flipping across. 90 degrees would be like here, or 90 degrees would be here. Because it's almost like a mirror image, it's a 180 degree rotation about, and I would say it's about that point there. That would be the middle of the rotation, so that would be about the point -1, 1. In letter C, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to draw your own shape somewhere on the paper, on the space, and then perform a 90 degrees clockwise rotation of your shape, and then draw the image. So take a second or so, draw some shape. It could be simple, it could be a line, it could be a smiley face or a heart or something, and then make a 90 degrees clockwise rotation of that image. Go ahead and do it now. When you're ready to continue, hit pause the video. When you're ready to continue, hit play, and we'll go through it together. Alright, so here we are. I'm going to draw a shape. I don't know. I'm just make a simple shape. And that didn't work for me. I don't know what I want to draw. There, I'll make a heart. It's an ugly heart. Alright, so I'm going to make a 90 degree clockwise. So the clock spins this way, and I'm going to rotate it about the origin. So that whole thing, if I would imagine taking this whole shape and rotating it, so look where the blue heart is going to go. If I rotate it clockwise 90 degrees, it needs to look like that. Okay. Oopsie, too far. So it's going to go start here. Something like that. I think the top side's a little bit too wide. All right, something like that. That would be a 90 degree rotation clockwise. And if you want to label, like if this is point A, this would be point A prime, and maybe this is point B, this would be point B prime. So that's what we're talking about, a rotation. And honestly, that rotation I just showed, I would do that with my piece of paper. I would put like my pencil on the origin right here, and then push hard, and then you can turn the paper and see what it would look like with a 90-degree rotation. So rotations, turns about the origin usually, not always. Sometimes it's around another point. Now, a reflection. A reflection is, as it sounds, a reflection. It's like a mirror image of each other across some line. And usually what you're going to find is it's usually either going to be across the x-axis or the y-axis. In this case, this is a mirror image across the x-axis because it goes from here to there, here to there. And it's like a mirror image. They're the same distance away. It's 2 blocks away, 2 blocks away. And that's kind of what a reflection is. So in letter B, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to draw your own shape and then reflect it across the y-axis. So I'm going to start doing mine right now. Let's see. Maybe I'll do my heart again. There we go. And if I want to reflect this across the y-axis, which is this line, it's going to go that way. So everything needs to be the same distance away, but on the other side of the y-axis. So this is 3 units away, 3 units away. So my heart, ooh, it's like that. That is ugly, but it's close enough. That's what my reflection would look like. It should be the same image. Yes, we're not going to get it perfect, but we're not expected to. It's the same image, but on the other side. If you imagine I have placed a mirror right here, that's what they would see if they looked back at each other. Letter C says describe the reflection that took place. So this is a reflection. Now this one is not across the x-axis or y-axis, but I'd like you to try to take some time and think about where that line of reflection would be that would give you that image. Go ahead, pause the video, try this on your own. When you're ready to continue, hit play, and we'll go through it together. Alright, now, I thought of a way to kind of maybe help explain this line of reflection a little bit. If I pop back to here, if I would take this picture, and if I would take this on my piece of paper and I would fold it in half right across this line, this image and that image would exactly meet up. Same thing with my letter B. This time, if I fold it across the y-axis, since that was my line of reflection, if I folded it right here in half, my two hearts should, well, if I could draw better, would be exactly on top of each other and match up. So here, where would you have to fold this so that those two shapes would exactly match up? Now, folding it here won't work, folding it here won't work. But if you folded along this diagonal, the 2 points would match up. So the reflection that took place here is it's reflected about this line. And those sorts of things happen. Now, usually it's going to be reflected across the x-axis or the y-axis, but sometimes it might be some other line like the one you see here. Maybe like x equals 1 or y equals 5. But the goal right now is to be able to recognize that, yes, this is a reflection. Okay, next problem. The next example here, we're looking at translations. So a translation is, the name kind of we said earlier, is kind of like a slide, where this whole shape from the pre-image to the image just slided. It didn't turn, it didn't rotate, it didn't flip, it just kind of shifted from one place to another. So they're exactly identical. So describe this translation that took place. Well, what I would do, honestly, is I would pick one point and see what happened. How did I get from here to down there? Well, I had to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So I went down 4 and to the right, I'm sorry, to the left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is the translation that took place. And if you checked every single point on the two shapes, they should be the same. If I go down 4 and over left 6 from here, I should be placed here. And from every other point would be the same. Letter B. What translation took place? How did I get from here to there? Well, pick a point. I'll use this one to there. So it looks like I went to the right 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I did not have to go up or down at all. So my translation is just to the right 7 places. Alright, so what I'd like you to do in letter C here is I'd like you to draw an arrow in quadrant 1. Now, you can make a simple arrow. My arrow is probably going to look something like this. You can make it facing up or down or left, right. Just make sure it's in quadrant 1. That's this one. Now, in this problem, I want you to translate that shape to two down and left 3. So any arrow you want, translate it 2 down and left 3. Okay? If I do that, this point goes down 2, 1, 2, 3 to the left, 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 and I get, that one's not right. Down 2, 1, 2, 3 to the left. There we go. And I get an arrow that looks more like that. And if I label some points A, B, this will be A prime and B prime. So this is the translation that took place. Now, here are a couple applications. They're just kind of little wordy problems that kind of sink this idea in. So the first one says, if you're standing in the hallway, then take 4 steps sideways. Would this be a rotation, a reflection, or a transformation? So here you are. You're standing in the hallway, and you take 4 steps sideways. So you went 1, 2, 3, 4. Would that be a rotation, a reflection, or a transformation? Hopefully you said that would be a transformation. Because you didn't rotate, you didn't spin, you didn't like flip backwards, or flip left, right. You didn't do that. So it would just be a transformation. You just moved from one place to the other. That's it. Letter B. A car at a red light. Car is at a red light. Grammar, grammar, grammar. A car is at a red light. When the light turns green, the car makes a right-hand turn. Would this be a rotation, a reflection, or a transformation? So let's see. I'm imagining like an intersection here. And here's Mr. Carr sitting here in the intersection. And it says, when the light turns green, the car makes a right-hand turn. So he's now over here. Would that be a rotation, a reflection, or a transformation? Well, hopefully you understand that if you're turning, that's a rotation. You're spinning around. Kind of like a central point would probably be over here. Like everything just kind of rotated around that point. So this is a rotation. Lastly, it says Sam and Jake are perfectly identical twin brothers. They both have their backs to a wall. If Jack raises his left hand, and Sam raises his right hand, what kind of transformation would this be? Go ahead, pause the video, maybe draw a picture to help you understand what this is doing. When you're ready to continue, hit play, and we'll go through it together. Alright, so let's see. We've got Sam here. And since these boys are identical twins, let's give him his twin clone. There they are. So, they're both here. And I'm going to call this guy Sam, and this guy is Jake. Jake or Jack? Holy cow, he has two different names. Interesting. Let's call him Jake. I like Jake better than Jack. So, if Jakey Jack here raises his left hand, and Sam raises his right hand, what kind of transformation would this be? Well, look at it. I mean, is this a rotation? Did we just take one guy here and rotate him? No, that's not going to work. It's not a transformation or a translation because we can't just take this guy and shift it over because they're not identical anymore. So this one has to be a reflection. And if you imagine us taking like a dotted line here, that's kind of like our fold. If we took a piece of paper and folded it, the two images would be exactly the same, identical on top of each other. So this would be a reflection. Last thing here is, what is the difference between a rotation, a reflection, and a translation? Just give a little summary of each. Pause the video, do it on your own. When you're ready to continue, hit play, and we'll go through it together. So, here's what I came up with. I say here, there we are, a rotation is when the image is turned from its starting location. So you take the picture, you turn it about some axis, about some center point, and there's your rotation. A reflection is like a mirror image of the original image. The other example I'd give you is that folding the piece of paper in half, that's a way you can show a reflection. And a translation is when you don't change the orientation of the pre-image, so you don't change the rotation of it or the reflection of it. It stays exactly the same, but it's just shifted in its position. You just move it from one place to another, up, down, left, or right. So, this has been lesson 2.1. Thank you for watching.